Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Kanada'daki en gelişmiş bilimsel öğrenme ve araştırma tesisine sahip The University of Lethbridge'de eğitimi Adhiraj'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Adhiraj, the stage is yours now.
Thank you so much, Zainab. Hi, everyone. My name is Adhiraj, and I'm the International Recruitment Manager at the University of Lethbridge. We are a university that is located in Western Canada, and we are the second best undergraduate university in the country as per the Maclean's magazine ranking in 2020, October 2020. So I'll start my presentation and I'll share my screen. My presentation, I'll be telling you more about the city of, about studying in Western Canada, about studying in Canada as an international student, and studying at the University of Lethbridge. I won't, I will cover some admission requirements as well, but I won't deep dive into that. For me, it's more of a general introduction about the university. And if you do have questions about admission requirements and so on, I will provide you with my email and my my Skype and so on. So if you want, you can connect with me and or later, and we can have a one-on-one conversation to assess your individual profile. Right. So I'll just share my screen. So the University of Lethbridge, I'll start with telling you about the university's motto. So the university's motto is Fiat Lux, which means let there be light. And the reason behind that is because we do have a lot of light on campus. So we are actually the sunniest, we are amongst the top 3 sunniest cities in Canada. Canada, by and large, is a cold country, but we receive the most number of sunshine hours out of all the cities in Canada. Most number of sunshine hours in Alberta, and amongst the top 3 in the rest of Canada. So this is actually because we are located just 1 hour from the US border. And the US border, the state that is south of us is a state called Montana, which is actually a desert. So we are close to that. No, we're not really a desert, but we're pretty close to the desert. And therefore, we have a very warm summer and a much more manageable winter than other cities in Canada. So about the University of Lethbridge, so our rankings, we are ranked second for amongst the research universities. This is by Research InfoSource in 2018, which is a research publication. We are also ranked as the second best undergraduate university by Maclean's. Now, Maclean's is basically the largest current affairs publication in Canada, similar to Time magazine in the US. So we have, and so Maclean's has ranked us, you know, in the last 3 years, we've always been ranked amongst the top 5 undergraduate universities in the country. And last year, it's the highest we ever reached at number 2. And next year, we're hoping to be number 1. But I mean, yeah, fingers crossed. So, we're a small university. So our faculty to student ratio is about 1:15. So smaller class sizes, 9,000 students in total, out of which about 2,000 are postgraduates. We do have a few master's degrees as well. And about 2,000 students are master's students. The rest, 7,000 students, are all undergraduate students. And speaking of, and amongst those undergraduate students, about 7% of those 7,000 students are international. Right, so we have a lot of countries represented. We have more than 64 countries represented on campus. We've got students from the Middle East, like from Turkey, from Iran. We've got students from the UAE, a lot of students from Ghana and Nigeria, a lot of students from South Asia, China. So we're very well represented internationally. Now, we are also home to the Canadian Center for Behavioral Neuroscience. So our neuroscience program, our BSc Neuroscience, for anybody that's interested, it's ranked number 1 in Canada. And the Canadian Center of Behavioral Neuroscience is part of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. And there's a lot of specialized research that is done in neuroscience on our campus. We also now our new building, our new science faculty was actually established in 2017, and it's one of the most advanced faculties for science education in the country. There's a lot of space research also that is done, and a lot of space research, like there's some low-level NASA research also that happens out of the Lethbridge campus. So there are a lot of security codes to get into that building, and even me as a staff member, I don't have access to that building. It's only the students who get access to that building and the faculty. So I'll show you a picture of that later. And this new science faculty was actually developed in 2017. We also have the Dillon School of Business, and it is an AACSP accredited business school. So only 6% of business schools globally are accredited by AACSP. Now, our School of Business it's the most popular faculty for international students. Most of the international applications we get are for our business programs. And the business program, it has a very, very high co-op success rate. So co-op basically means students who pursue paid internships. And so a lot of internships, a lot of experiential learning while you're studying, and even the graduate employment rate is very high for this particular faculty. Now, we are the only university in Alberta to offer co-op for every program, irrespective of whether, even if you're doing a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, you can apply for the co-op program, which is basically a program which is basically what co-op means is that you do an internship and you get credits for that internship that you do. So it's part of the course curriculum, right? So irrespective of the discipline, like the other universities I worked at before in Vancouver, it's only certain faculties where the students can apply for a co-op program, such as business and engineering and science and so on. But here, even if you're doing a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Music, you can still apply for the co-op, which is a paid internship. So that is, and in a pandemic year, last year, 2020, in a pandemic year, for a university our size, we had amongst the smaller universities, we had an outstanding success rate for the number of students pursuing co-op internships. So we had more than 300 students in a pandemic year do co-op, which is, for a university our size, that's a huge feather in our cap. We have a digital audio arts major, right? For students studying music, we have a digital audio arts major. We also have a number of, so we don't have engineering, but we do have a pathway to engineering. So for example, a student who wants to do an engineering program can come to us, do the first year, and the second, third, fourth, fifth year, they transfer to the University of Alberta, which is in Edmonton, right, which is a larger university. So we have a pathway into the engineering program with the University of Alberta. Now, as a city, we are a small city. We're located about 2 hours away from Calgary, and so this is where, just to give you some bearing, this is where we are. This is the map of Canada, and we are in a province called Alberta. The capital of Alberta is Edmonton, so Edmonton is here, and then south of Edmonton is Calgary, which is the fourth largest city in Canada. And 2 hours away from Calgary here is Lethbridge, and we are just 1 hour north of the US border. So, and we have campuses in Lethbridge as well as Calgary. So Lethbridge campus is our main campus. It's the larger campus where we have on-campus residents and so on. Our smaller campus is in Calgary. That's more like a satellite campus where, just certain programs are taught, and the campus is open primarily afternoons and evenings. So it's not open mornings, because most of the students are graduate students who are already working, and they are pursuing, like they're doing evening classes. They're doing their masters as an evening class. But we do have some undergrad programs as well taught there, like our Bachelor of Business, our Bachelor of Business you can do it in Calgary or in the main campus, which is in Lethbridge. So Calgary has a population of 1.6 million, and Lethbridge, which is 2 hours south, our city has a population of 100,000. The total population of Alberta as a province is about 4.4 million. And we are, so 2 hours, that's about 210 kilometers away from Calgary. And from the US border, we are just about a little over 100 kilometers away. So in an hour, you're at the US border. Now, we have more than 320 days of sunshine in a year. So which means that even when it's cold and, you know, it's maybe minus 20 outside, or let's say in January, beginning of January, you still see sunshine, even though the temperature is cold, right? So plenty of vitamin D, you know, there's, you know, like we're one of the few cities in Canada where there are very few cases in the hospitals of aged people with vitamin D deficiency, right? Our main industry, our main economy around the city is agriculture. So we are our Bachelor of Agriculture program is very popular. We have a Bachelor of Agricultural Studies, and we have a BSc in Agricultural Science as well. So 2 programs, and hugely popular, and like our students, generally some of them get offers, you know, employment offers before they even have graduated. Like 3 months before graduating, they already have a job lined up, because this is a very, very popular program. So we have the city has more than 130 different parks, 240 kilometers of walking and running trails, playgrounds, sports fields. And our campus is very, very large and green. So we have a lot of green space, a lot of fields on our campus itself. And our campus is not very far from a golf course. So it's like maybe a 5 to 10 minute drive away from a golf course as well. So plenty, if you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's plenty for you to do. And in terms of temperatures, so summers right now, for example, it's around plus 37 degrees, right? Winters can go down to some extreme winter days can go down to maybe minus 30, but on an average, it's between minus 15 and minus 25 for about 3 to 4 months of the year. So Lethbridge is our main campus, and this is the picture of our campus. And this building right over here on the right-hand side of the screen is the science faculty that I was telling you about, built in 2017. Our campus is over 500 acres, a lot of green space, and you get some very good views of the campus. So our campus is actually on, it's located in the coulees, which are mountains, right? And it's very, very scenic. There are a lot of hiking trails, a lot of biking trails, and you get a view of the Oldman River Valley. So it's very pretty. I can't describe it to you here, but you actually have to see it to get a sense of it. And this is our Calgary campus. So this is right in downtown Calgary, close to one of the main train stations in the city, main transit stops in the city, which is Bow Valley Square Station. Our campus is actually on a couple of floors in the Bow Valley College building, right? So it's not a separate building on its own. It's inside another public institution. We've leased a few floors on their building, and that's how we operate our campus. And this is like students in Calgary, generally we can help with accommodation, but we don't have any residences like we do at our Lethbridge campus. So these are some of our most popular programs for international students. So we have the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Management, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music. And these are all the different majors. Now we were set up as a liberal education focused institution. So which means that a student can be doing a major from one faculty. You know, if you have, let's say you want to do a career program, but you have an interest in something that you know, like let's say you have an interest in philosophy. So you can even be doing a Bachelor of Management and Accounting with a minor in philosophy, right? Just so, you know, in your quest for a career-oriented program, you don't need to forget something that is your passion. You can also pursue your passion on the side, right? So you can be doing a major from one faculty, a minor from another faculty. You can be doing, you know, double major. You can be doing a major with 2 minors, or a double degree, you know, which will be around 5 years. So there are lots of permutations and combinations, and a lot of flexibility for students to devise their own program. I'll tell you a little bit more about our popular faculties now. So I'll start with the Dillon School of Business. Now this was set up in 1975. It's AACSB accredited, and we have our own trading floor, which is like our own simulated trading room, where students actually use money from a pooled in fund, right? So they don't use their own funds while learning how to trade in stocks, but yes, they do get to keep the proceeds. So if they make, you don't need to contribute back into that fund, if you have made if you've generated any profit from trading. So that fund is called the SMIF, Student Managed Investment Fund, and students, you use that pooled in fund while learning how to trade, and they get to keep the proceeds, which is great. We have, so students can pursue a number of different co-op opportunities. So there's a lot of experiential learning, like paid internships. There's also integrated management experience. So which is basically pro bono work. So you can also, let's say, volunteer at the city of Lethbridge, or in one of the offices, government offices or private offices in the city, and which is pro bono work. It's voluntary. So you can, so essentially there's a lot of ways that you can get references before you graduate, work references before you graduate, because when you do graduate in Canada, they ask for 2 or 3 preferably work-related references, which you can acquire at the University of Lethbridge, because there's so much experiential learning that we have to offer. Right? And the business school has study abroad opportunities in over 24 countries. So you can go on an exchange program for a semester or a year. This is, of course, once things resume back to normal. Right now, our campus is going to be open. September, we are going back to campus, which means most of the classes, more than 90% of the classes, will be delivered on campus. And by January 2022, it'll be 100%. So all staff, students, everybody will be back to campus on a full scale, starting Jan 2022. But we are getting there. So this September, it's going to be over 90% in any case. We have the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. So it's the founding academic faculty at the University of Lethbridge. So there are over 40 disciplines, 40 different majors that are taught at this faculty. It's the only university in Alberta that offers a co-op opportunity for science majors for all arts and science majors at the undergrad as well as the graduate level, right? The Science Commons building. Now, this is Canada's most advanced science facility. It's home to a number of research centers, such as the Canadian Center for Behavioral Neuroscience that I was telling you about, the Institute of Space Imaging Science, and it's got you can do the BA program, the Bachelor of Arts and Science program, or the BSc program, standalone BSc. And we follow a liberals-based system of education. So students can select, courses from a lot of different, they can mix and match a lot of permutations and combinations at this faculty as well, as with the rest of the university. We have the Faculty of Health Science, which is also popular. Now, health sciences, all other programs have a Jan as well as a September start date, but our Faculty of Health Science has only a September start date, and most of the programs are competitive admission, and the application deadlines are generally March 15th for September, right? And here also we have state-of-the-art labs. We have, like, for example, nursing students can do their practicum on campus itself. So it's like a hospital. We have a simulated hospital environment where students can learn how to, where nursing students, for example, can get to practice before they go out into the real world and start working. So the Simulation Health Center has a lot of features. So, for example, we've got acute care lab spaces. We have high fidelity simulation rooms. We have a home care room, client assessment rooms, simulation debriefing rooms. Now, admission requirement, generally we require for most of our programs an IELTS of overall 6 and nothing below 6, right? But for for the Faculty of Health Science programs, we require an overall band of 7.5. Sorry, we need an overall band of 6 in every single thing except for speaking, which should be 7.5. So speaking, while rest of the courses are all overall 6, nothing below 6, but for speaking, everything else should be 6. I mean, for health sciences programs, apart from speaking, all others need to be 6, but speaking band needs to be at 7.5. So this is something that you'll see on our admission requirement page as well. Just bear that in mind when if you're looking to do one of our health sciences programs. And in terms of admission requirements, generally we require, like, we accept a number of different English scores. And if you're from a certain curriculum, like if you're from an IB or an A-levels curriculum, you may get as exempted from having to do an IELTS test. So for example, an IB student can have, if they have a grade of 5 or more in IB English or standard level English, higher or standard level English, that should suffice. Then they wouldn't need to do an IELTS or a TOEFL. Likewise, if they're from the A-level curriculum, if they have, let's say, a minimum of B average in AS or A-level English from the British curriculum, then they don't need to do the IELTS. We also are accepting the Duolingo, and we are accepting it for September, and most likely we will accept it for January as well, because we understand a lot of IELTS centers are closed. We have we accept the TOEFL, we accept the PTE, and all the different English scores that we require are mentioned on this page. And for health sciences, just remember, IELTS speaking has to be at 7.5. We have a number of different scholarships as well, so anywhere between $500 to $5,000. Now, scholarships at our institution is different as compared to other institutions. So how it works is, some institutions, they assess your file for admission as well as scholarship both at one time. So you may get an offer saying that, yes, you've been admitted and you're also getting a scholarship. With us, it's a little different. You have to first apply, you have to accept your offer, pay the minimum deposit and accept your place in the program. Then there's a quick online application that you do for a scholarship. And these scholarships can be anywhere between $500 to $5,000. And these are generally, our scholarships are not renewable, but they're like based on previous year's academic performance. You can again apply for the second year. You can again apply for the third year, and so on, based on your past academic performance. So while it's not renewable, but yes, you can apply every single year for a new scholarship. And this is generally a quick application which is done over your online portal with your own username and password over a Bridge account. And that is something that you'll be told about. Let's say you apply and you receive your offer of admission. You'll also be explained the process of how you can go about applying for a scholarship, which is basically just one form that you need to fill in. So these are some of our application deadlines. Now for January 2022, our application deadlines are for international students, it is September 15th, right? And the deadline to submit all your final official documents is January 10th. This is for, and our session, I think, session usually starts on the second Monday of January. So this is just a breakdown of our fees. So you're looking at a total of about 32 to 33,000 Canadian dollars a year for studying, as well as your living expenses. So tuition, for example, on average is about $18,400. And then you have some ancillary fees, such as student union fees, medical insurance, and administrative fees. Then you have books and supplies, which is basically the cost of your textbooks. So about $21,000 you can expect to spend on just the school part of it, the education part of it. And then living expenses can be anywhere between $12,000 to $14,000 a year. We do have a lot of part-time opportunities on campus, so on campus as well as off campus. Now, I came to Canada as an international student myself. I came here many years ago in 2007. I came to do a master's, and that time the rules were, things were a lot different, and it wasn't as it wasn't as international student friendly as it is today. So for example, now you have, you can work 20 hours part-time while you're studying every week. You can so you can do that, and during the holidays when you're not studying, you can work full-time. In the summer holidays, for example, if you take the summer off, you have 2.5 or 3 months, and you can work full-time during that period. And Lethbridge as a city, we do have need for workers, right? Whether it's part-time or whether it's full-time. So finding a part-time job while you're studying is generally not very difficult. But I still recommend to students that give it at least 1 semester or 1 year before you start looking for part-time employment. But that being said, we're a much more reasonably priced city than some of the bigger Canadian cities in Canada, such as Calgary or Vancouver. I've lived in Vancouver, and you would pay maybe $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment in Vancouver, whereas here you can get that for maybe about $900, right? So it's much cheaper. It's much more livable. It's easy to drive around. It's easy to get around. The transit is very good here, like the public transport system. The cost of living is very reasonable, and there are many other aspects as well. So for example, in Alberta, in our province, when you go to buy something at a retail store, let's say I need to buy a pen, the cost of the pen would be just $1 plus 5% tax, whereas in other provinces across the country, you would be paying $1 plus 13% tax. So we have the taxes you pay in Alberta are much lower. The retail sales, so buying anything from a retail store is a little bit cheaper than what would be in other provinces. And we also have a lot of opportunities for immigration. So for example, when students graduate, we have a lot of different favorable provincial nominee programs, which is focused towards international students. So it's a little easier to stay back and migrate and so on in Alberta, as compared to some of the other provinces. And generally, it's a great province to be living in. It's a the university is fabulous. I've worked at 3 other universities in Canada, and I've been in the role for about 9 months, and the feel that I get here I've never had before. And I've been in the role 9 months when there have been no students around on campus, but some of the students that I meet virtually, there's a very different vibe that you get. It's a very impersonal vibe. It's because we're a small university community. You walk around campus, even during a pandemic time, when you walk around campus, there's there's somebody or the other who you always recognize and you say hello to. So it's great. It's good to be in a small campus. It's great to have that individualized attention from the faculty. You will also be getting a lot of exposure in terms of part-time work and co-op and so on, experiential learning. And we have a dedicated international student service advising team. So for example, if students are ever facing troubles or having any issues coping up, or managing their course load, or they're just generally homesick, we have services for such students. And our international center is generally open now. September we are opening fully, so we will have you will have drop-in hours, or you can just walk in, and if you ever need to speak to somebody, so we are always there essentially. So if you do have any more questions, I'll start answering some of the questions, but if there's anything that you need to ask me more confidentially, you can always email me. My email is adhiraj.gill@uleth.ca, just mentioned here on the screen. We also have English language. I forgot to mention one thing during my presentation, which is about our English Language Institute. So for example, if a student does not meet the IELTS requirement, you don't need to fret. You can come and study English with us for a semester, and then go on to study your main program, which is your undergraduate program. We do have that option, and we do have a number of different EAP, which is English for academic preparation courses offered by the English Language Institute on campus, depending on your English level. So a placement test is done. When you enter into the program, we'll assess your English, not just based on your IELTS, but on our own level as well. We'll assess your English, and you may be put into a more compressed English program, or you may be put, depending on your English ability, you may be put into a slightly lengthier program, but generally it's on average, it's about 1 semester, right? So that's just the University of Lethbridge about studying in Alberta. And if you have questions, please email me anything you want to ask me, and I'll start answering some of the questions on the screen for now, and I will stop sharing my screen as well. Okay. So for a master's program, I see one question here. What is the diploma? Let me go right from down. I think Zainab mentioned that I should go from the last one up, right? So what criteria do they pay attention to for international students? So generally what we look for is the equivalent of a 60% in your, when converted to our grades, because we have a grading scale and we convert all your local grades into like all international curriculums into our own grading system. So for example, if you're from the IB curriculum or you're from the A-level curriculum, like A-level, for example, we need an overall of C, right? So different criteria we have. Now we also, for English, we want, depending on the program, unless it's health sciences, all other programs, we want an overall of 6, overall score of 6, and nothing below 6. And let me have a quick look at our Turkish, what specific requirements we have for Turkish students as well from the Turkish curriculum. And I'll just quickly get back to you. Just a second. And at the end of this presentation, after I finish answering some of your questions, I'll be showing you a quick video about what it is like to be living in Lethbridge, about the city in general. So from Turkey, what we require, I'll put that in the chat box. So if anybody wants to know what we specifically look for from Turkish high school students, I'll just quickly put that on the chat. And I'm putting this in the chat box, not in the question box, but in the chat box. So if this is what we generally require, with a minimum average of 3 by 5. Now, mind you, there are some additional. If you're doing, let's say, if you're doing Bachelor of Management, specializing in accounting, you'll have a math requirement as well. And that math requirement is generally, so grade 12 math should be a course that is taken if you're looking to do a quantitative subject. Next question is, how is living expenses in Alberta state? Is it higher or lower than other states? That's a subjective question. I would say rather than the state, you should look at the city you're going to. Our city, Lethbridge, is very, very affordable to live in, right? As I said, in Vancouver, you can be paying in excess of $2,000 for a one-bedroom apartment, whereas here you can get the same one-bedroom apartment for $900 or so, right? So much, much cheaper to be living here. And as I said earlier, you also, as opposed to paying 12 or 13% on anything that you buy from a store, here you will be paying only 5%, right? So generally cheaper to live here. How long does the application process take? Fatma, our application process generally is about 10 business days. So every time, when you apply, it'll take us a maximum of about 10 to 15 business days to give you a response I mean, to assess your application and get back to you, right? So that is provided all documents are there. Now, if it's an incomplete application, you know, we will get back to you within those 10 to 15 days asking for something else. And then when you again submit that pending document that we require, you may have to wait another few days. So it's best to make your application as complete as possible when you're applying. The more paperwork that you provide, the better it is. And the more succinct, like the more complete your application basically is, the better it is for you, and the quicker it'll be checked and responded to. So are there any scholarship opportunities? What are the conditions, if any? So scholarships generally start at you know, the equivalent of 75% and above. So students who have done, like when we convert your high school grades into our own grading scale, we are looking for generally something over 75%. So that is the starting range. And for exceptional students who have got, like, let's say 95+%, they can go up to maybe $4,500 to $5,000. But starting at 75, you may qualify for 500 to 1,000, right? So it depends on, I mean, this could change. So we don't have any specific set criteria. It also depends on the quality of applications or the number of applications we receive for that particular year. So, but generally, I mean, last few years we've seen an increase in the number of international applications. So the better your score is, the stronger your high school score is, the better the chance of getting a higher amount of a scholarship. But at a minimum, we are looking for at least around 75%. Do we need to take any additional exam for the fine arts program? Kind of talent test. There is a portfolio requirement for one of our programs. Kubra, if you can just email me your question, right? I'll just send me a quick email reminder on my email, and I'll put that here. Adiraj, my email for everybody in case you didn't get it earlier, it's adiraj.gill@uleth.ca. So if you can email me this question, because I don't know the answer of 100%. We have a lot of different kinds of, we have a lot of programs in arts itself. So I'll have to check this one and get back to you. Is TOEFL IELTS requirement the same for all programs? Yes, at the undergraduate level, it's same for all programs except for health sciences, where everything must be 6, but your speaking band must be 7.5. But all other programs apart from health sciences should be overall score of 6 and nothing below 6. So another question here, which programs are most popular amongst the international students? So the program that is the faculty that receives the most number of applications is our business faculty, the Dillon School of Management. We have, and then the second most, I would say, would be the Faculty of Health Sciences, because you know, our nursing program is very popular. We have different starts, right? So a student can come to us right after grade 12 and study for 4 years and get the full undergraduate degree. Or sometimes a student, like let's say in nursing, we have an after degree program. So a person who has already studied nursing abroad, has a bachelor's degree in nursing, they can come and study an additional 2 years with us, and they'll get a Canadian bachelor's in nursing. So we have a lot of different entry points. So we have, for example, in nursing, we have the after degree program. For all the other programs, we have, you know, the Bachelor of Management, for example, starts. You can either start right after grade 12, after completing high school, or we have something called a post-diploma Bachelor of Management program, which is basically for diploma holders. So you have, after grade 12, let's say you did a 2-year diploma in business or 2-year diploma in management. We will recognize your prior study, and we'll give you credits for those studies. Of course, there are criteria for those credits to be considered equal to ULETH credits, but we are willing to look at applications, from different countries. Like, for example, if a student has done a BTech Higher National Diploma, which is level 5, for 2 years, and then they apply for the post-diploma Bachelor of Management at the University of Lethbridge, they just study an additional 2 years, and they get a Canadian. They graduate with a full bachelor's degree from the University of Lethbridge. Then we also have the second degree program. So let's say a student has already done any bachelor's degree from abroad, and they want to do a second degree in Bachelor of Arts as a second degree. Again, they've had the bachelor's degree, so they just study maybe 1.5 to 2 years, and they get a Canadian bachelor's degree. So either you can do the full 4 years, or you can start with us at the post-diploma bachelor's level if you already have 2 years of education overseas. And if you already have a degree overseas, you can do a second degree program if you are not eligible for a master's. So for example, in some countries, they have a 3-year bachelor's degree. Our master's programs require a 4 years bachelor's degree, right? So students who may not be eligible for the master's program, they can come and do a second degree with us, which will be they just study 2 years, get a Canadian bachelor's degree. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of different entry points. And if you want to see some more information about our post-diploma and our second degree programs, you can see that on our website. If you just Google ULETH post-diploma, University of Lethbridge post-diploma programs, you'll see all 6 of them listed there. Likewise, same for our second degree also. If you just put it onto Google, you'll see all our different programs that are listed. Which programs, amongst international students, for international students, are there any kinds of tests needed except IELTS, TOEFL? Generally, no. So we don't ask for the SAT exam or any other exam generally, unless you're from the American curriculum, if you studied in the US. But generally, we just require the English test and your high school grades for admission. Can international students take prep year at University of Lethbridge, or do we have any partner language schools? We do have partner language schools, which we do recognize, but it's best, like if you're coming, let's say if you do not meet our IELTS requirement, you miss the IELTS by a little bit, you can even come and study with us at our English Language Institute. And this would be, then you're already in the system, you're already part of the university, you're already a University of Lethbridge student. So that entire adjustment period that entire transition becomes a lot easier. But yes, we do have a number of partner language schools as well. I think, ILAC and a couple of them in different cities, we do have partnerships with them as well. I understand you don't want to get too involved in the admissions, but I'm wondering what are the chances for interdisciplinary master's programs? Suppose you have a BS in economics and want to pursue a MSc in computer science. Do you think it's a good idea to apply and get in? I'll have to check on that. Now, I'm primarily an undergraduate recruiter, so I don't have too much information on masters. But if you have questions, if you have any specific questions, I'll give you, Mustafa, I'll give you the School of Graduate Studies. They'll respond to you within 24 hours. So this question, I can direct you to the right department. So that's the email that if you write to them, they will get back to you by tomorrow. Application deadline for fall. So Fatma, the application deadline for fall is already over. Our application deadline was June 30th. Now for January 2022, our application deadline is September 15th. So fall is already too late. It's starting in next. It's already July and we are starting first week of September. So it's a little late to apply. And for the new academic year, yes, for starting this September, it's going to be predominantly on campus. So more than 90% of our programs, of our courses will be delivered on campus. Up until last semester, I think there was like a 50-50 split. A lot of programs are offered online as well, synchronized as well as asynchronized learning online. But now it's going to be primarily on campus. And starting January 2022, would be 100% on campus. Is there any other mandatory exam for international students such as SAT? So we don't require the SAT unless you are from the American curriculum. But now you mentioned engineering. You want to study engineering. So we have a transfer program in engineering where you do the first year with us, and then you meet the University of you transfer into the University of Alberta for the remaining 4 years, which is in Edmonton. Right? I can send you more information if you can email me. My email is already. I'll give you my email. So if you can just quickly email me, I can send you information, detailed information about our pre-professional engineering transfer program that we have with the University of Alberta. It's a pathway program essentially. So what are the post-training job opportunities in the region, and in which areas are employees more needed? So agriculture is our main, in this region in southern Alberta, agriculture is the primary economy here. But that being said, there's a lot of health as well. So if you're interested in pursuing a career related in health sciences, or let's say nursing or therapeutic recreation or public health, there are good opportunities there as well. Our business school, of course, across the province, our business school graduates are securing jobs. But I would say, if you ask me which areas, which is the top two, I would say it would be Faculty of Health Sciences and agriculture. So if you do, let's say, a BSc in agricultural science, or a BA in agricultural studies, these programs would be very, very employable if you're looking to live in the area. But if you want to move, let's say, to Calgary or Vancouver, maybe you could look at any other discipline like management or something if you're flexible, right? What is the diploma score required for master's degree? So generally for masters, what we do require is a 4 years bachelor's degree, and it should be in second division or above. So second division can vary from country to country. Best would be to go onto our School of Graduate Studies website, and there they have all the master's programs from your country, from Turkey, what the exact requirement is for getting into a master's. But in any case, I'll put the email ID for the School of Graduate Studies is sgsinquiries, all one word, at uleth.ca. And they're pretty quick in responding. They'll give you a response in a couple of hours, probably. Irman, I didn't quite understand your question, but if you want to have a chat with me, you can probably have a one-on-one Microsoft Teams call or a Zoom call with me, and I'll give you my email. We can if you have more specific questions, but it's also saying it's for a master's program. So, but anyways, I'll give you both my email as well as the School of Graduate Studies email, and you can write to us. So part-time jobs, yes, generally they are quite, I wouldn't say it's like, it's a cakewalk, but yes, students do get part-time jobs on campus as well as off campus. And there are part-time positions in Lethbridge. It's a growing city, and we do have a demand for people to come in and start living in the city and, start working here so that our economy grows. and there is a significant demand for part-time as well as full-time workers across different levels in the city. So as a student, you can find a part-time job once you're immersed, once you're fully adjusted and you're comfortable with your academics. You can start looking, and part-time, generally you can earn, on an average, I would say you can earn about $17 an hour, and if you work, let's say 20 hours a week, so you should be able to meet at least 80% of your living expenses on your own, right? But that's provided you're comfortable with your academics. If not, some students take a semester to adjust, some students take up to a year, so it depends. It varies from student to student. Yes, Erman, about residence, we have more than 700 rooms on campus. We have rooms for every kind of for every preference. So if you're looking, let's say there are female students who are looking for single gender floors, female only floors. That's possible. If you're, let's say you're a student who needs company and you want a roommate, so we can have 2 people sharing a room. That's possible. If you like your own space and your own independence, you can have your own separate room. So there are lots of different options for different, based on your preferences as a student. And we have rooms with the meal plan as well. So meal plan, basically on your student ID card, you can swipe your student ID card and buy food anywhere across campus. And it's a prepaid meal plan. So all in all, yes, we do have plenty of residents available. On campus as well as off campus. Housing is not a problem, and if you're an on-campus room can be anywhere, like on-campus living expenses can be maybe a little bit more expensive than off-campus, and it can be anywhere between $1,000 to, let's say, $1,600 a month, right? And students generally stay the first year on campus, and second year they move. The ones that are living on campus move off campus. They made their group of friends, and maybe 3-4 of them get together, take an apartment, and start living together. Right? So that way they save on costs. I'll show you a quick video. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat box, so I can show you a quick video about the University of Lethbridge. I'll share my screen about the city of Lethbridge, not the university, but the city of Lethbridge. So I'll share my screen, and it'll just give you an idea of the vibe that we have. So it's a YouTube video. You'll probably it's called "It's Time to Meet You in Lethbridge," in case you want to watch it again later. There's one question which has just come in. It's about how we get to citizen then reading university. I'm guessing the question means how you become a citizen, right? So there's a bit of a process to that. So you generally first students study, then they apply. I'm not an immigration expert, but I'm just talking to you from based on my own experience as an international student who went through the entire process myself. So you study first as an international student, and then you get your postgraduate work permit. So let's say you're doing a program which is minimum 2 years duration or more. You get a postgraduate work permit. If you study minimum 2 years, you get a postgraduate work. You can apply for a postgraduate work permit for 3 years. While you're in that 3-year phase, you apply for your permanent residency. It can take a year to maybe a year and a half for your permanent residency application to get processed. Then as a permanent resident, I think you're supposed to live in Canada for about 3 years before you apply for your citizenship. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not an immigration expert, but when you do come to campus and we do have a department like International Student Service Advising Team, they will be able to guide you on the entire process and give you a timeline of how long it'll take. But I would estimate that you would be looking at spending at least 5 to 6 years in Canada before you apply for your citizenship. And you know, 5 to 6 years in Canada, out of which at least 3 years should be as a permanent resident. And it's possible. So Canada has a lot of different immigration pathways, and we are a very welcoming country. So we do value foreign people with foreign credentials. We do value that the contribution a citizen from overseas can bring, the perspective that a citizen from overseas can bring into our workforces. So we do value all of that, and therefore there are plenty of pathways and options to get where you want to be, right? So, but I would estimate maybe about 5 to 6 years, and this could change. I mean, right? That's what that's what the norm has been over the last few years, but it could change. They keep changing in immigration regulations every couple of years, so this could change, right? If you have any more questions, you can always please email me. Again, I'll say it. It's adhiraj.kill@uleth.ca. And it has been great talking to all of you. Thank you for signing on. I'm guessing it's evening time in Turkey. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to hear me out and to learn about the University of Lethbridge. And I look forward to receiving at least some of your applications for the January 2022 intake. And for those of you who have questions about our master's programs, you can either email me, or best would be to get in touch with the School of Graduate Studies themselves. And their email, I'll put it nonetheless quickly in the chat box. It is Great. So thank you all so much. Thank you. And can I sign off, Zainab, or?
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Adhiraj. We believe it was a really informative webinar for the attendees. And we had a lot of questions. You covered them all. Thank you for your answers too. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. University of Lethbridge ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için Adhiraj'ın paylaşmış olduğu mail adreslerinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Yarınki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz sizi bu arada. Thank you very much again, Adhiraj. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.